In this video, we're going to be going over how to book 10 to 20 qualified sales calls per month in the next 60 days with multi-channel cold outbound. This is without running ads or replying to a single lead. So who's this for? B2B coaches, consultants, and agencies selling medium to high ticket with a TAM, target or total addressable market of over 30,000 people. And so we'll get into why it has to be around 30,000 people down in this doc. But this is for if you are relying on referrals or networking to get your leads, if you're wasting a ton of money on paid ads, or if you've tried outbound but never been able to make it work. Really, it's just for any B2B business with no consistent lead generation or client acquisition system. This is what I found to be the easiest one to set up for any B2B coach, consultant, or agency that fits these criteria. So how did I start, right? Why do I do cold email? Well, I used to call local service businesses selling SEO. I used to do over 100 calls per day, and I barely booked any calls with maybe like a 10 to 20% show rate. So it was just absolutely brutal. I was scrolling, like I would search by city and scroll on Google Maps and just call people on my cell, and it was just horrible. I do not like cold calling. I do not want to go back to it. So I was like, I need a different way to get clients. I need a different system because this isn't scalable. I can't just keep on cold calling all day, every day. So I tried cold email, and it didn't work at first, but I saw the potential. So I realized, I was like, okay, well, I can't keep cold calling. I need something to be automated, and I need it to be scalable. So I was like, okay, well, for outreach, you can call, you can DM, you can email. That's like the sort of main three you can do in cold outreach. Email seemed the most easy to scale for me, and it was. So I tried it, and then I kept on running it for clients for free until I got good. I started posting on X and YouTube my strategies at the beginning of this year, so 2025, and you can see how I progressed over the year. So this is my first campaign offering SEO to HVAC contractors, and if you look, I had a 63% open rate, which we don't even track open rates anymore, and I thought that was good, but only a 0.4% reply rate, which is not the best. And this was contacting 1,400 leads, so the volume wasn't too bad. It was over like a week and a bit. But now this is last week offering SEO to landscapers, so nearly the same like offer and targeting, right? SEO to local service businesses. You can see we're getting a lot better 1 to 3% reply rate, really good positive reply rate, and generating opportunities consistently. So what's the difference, right? What changed in between these campaigns? Technically, this is actually a worse time of year to send than this campaign, which would have been like in September. So what was the difference? What makes a winning campaign? There are only two main things, like main buckets that actually create a winning campaign. It's your offer and your targeting, right? So what are you offering and who are you targeting for that offer? It needs to be a B2B offer. And one of the main reasons for that is because to find the leads that you target, I guess this is part of the targeting thing, but whatever. To find the leads that you target, right? You find them on either Maps or LinkedIn. And so we have a full Mire board that I'm going to go over in a second. But they usually come from Maps or LinkedIn, like a LinkedIn database, and you can only find businesses there. It's hard to find intent with consumers if you're going to be targeting them. So it's very difficult to find proper intent with consumers if you're trying to do B2C cold outreach. For offer, you want to be medium to high ticket, so at least around 5,000 LTV, usually about $1,000 a month at the lowest. Maybe if it's a really long term thing, your clients stay for a while, like $500 a month. But this is just to make the metrics profitable. So the amount of leads that you generate from cold outbound, right, 10 to 20 calls, is not going to be very valuable if you're only charging $50 a month, right? And then you need your offer to be front end. So you need to be able to give something upfront to pull them in. I throw out the word front end offer a lot. I know other people do a lot. What I mean when I say front end offer is an offer that's built specifically to sell for cold traffic, like cold outbound. So cold leads and warm leads are very, very, like they're different. It's a completely different type of lead. A warm lead or a referral that's coming to you or an inbound from content, whatever, is completely different than a cold person that you outreach to and to say, hey, sure, I'll give you a few minutes of my time, right? You need to be willing to shape your offer for outbound, right? You can't just say, okay, this is my offer, I'm going to sell it over outbound. You need to be able to look and say, this is my offer. Let's change it and let's see how we can make it sellable over outbound. Not the same thing, quite different, right? Like you have to be willing to change your offer and get the front end version of it, or just make it front end to sell over outbound. And so that would be adding a risk reversal, a guarantee, which comes down here, low risk and low time to results, because cold traffic does not care about you. Quantifiable outcome, easy to understand and quantify your offer. So for me, I say book 10 to 20 sales calls per month. We do cold outbound. It's pretty easy to quantify. Okay, so they're going to do outreach for me, and I know I could get around 10 to 20 calls per month. Like, that's so easy to just quantify and conceptualize and be, okay, this is probably going to be this many closes with my close rate. And if we did this for 6 months, we could get to this position. It's very, very easy to like quantify, and you're like, okay, well, I'll solve this problem and that problem and that. Rather than if you just say, hey, I could run your ads. Okay, well, but I have no clue what's going to come from that. What type of ads? Is it Google ads? Is it Facebook ads? Is it whatever? Right? So clear, quantifiable outcome, and quantify your offer. Then for targeting, TAM of over 30,000 people because of volume, right? We want to send decent volume for the metrics to work as well, right? So the type of metrics that we get from cold outbound, we kind of have to work around that. Okay, well, we can average around maybe a 2% reply rate, maybe 20% positive, and then let's say like a 20% booking rate, right? That's like a sort of average metrics. Okay, well, if we know we can get that, that's isolated. So now we need to make sure that, okay, well, how much volume can we pump into this? Okay, maybe 2,000 emails a day. And I'm not going to do the math. Let's say that makes 20 calls. Okay, well, then with 20 calls, how much would I have to charge to make that valuable and that profitable? Right? So that's kind of why we need a TAM of 30,000 people, so we can send a decent amount of volume. We can put enough volume into the system, and we can get enough calls out of the system. Then you need to have, and by the way, I'm saying need, you want to have these, and it's always a scale. It's not like a yes, I have this, no, I don't. It's a how much do you have it, how sellable is it? Okay, that's very important to know. But yeah, really like think about, okay, which one of these things, how, where does my business fit on the scale of having this to not having this? And then you want to have an ICP inside of your target addressable market. Okay, so let's use mine as an example. Okay, coaches, consultants, agencies. I can target SEO agencies, paid ad agencies, PPC agencies, web design agencies. I can target, business consultants. I can target accountants. That's a bit different, but we do accountants as well. You want an ideal customer profile inside of your target addressable market so that you can run campaigns that are more niched and more relevant and specific to who you're targeting. Because if I just say, hey, I can book you 10 calls, it's like, okay, well, there's like a million different people that offer that do that. I guess it makes it more saturated, but just makes it less like, what's the reason to talk to you? Like, so many other people offer this. So I guess, yeah, like saturated. But if you say, hey, are you taking on any new bookkeeping clients in January? Like, I could find you maybe 10 to 15 people that need accounting next month, right? That's pretty much one of the scripts that we ran that did really well, like 2-3 weeks ago. And so that makes it a lot more relevant when you bring up like the specific things about that niche part of your target addressable market, right? So I think it was a dude named Matt Lucero who kind of painted the picture of like you have your whole target addressable market, then you have like parts of it is like your ICP, which is like the ideal part of your target addressable market, and then you have segments of your ICP. And he had like a whole visual thing of that, but whatever. Then it needs to be findable. So usually on Maps or LinkedIn databases, which would be like Apollo, Sales Nav, they mainly get their leads from LinkedIn, to my knowledge. That usually is not an issue, but sometimes, B2C, that's why you don't really want to target B2C. Then responsive, this usually isn't an issue either, but you don't want to sell like a service to only enterprise CEOs. That would not be ideal, or like types of people that just are not going to be responding to emails. Okay. Now, how does this process actually work? So I made a huge Miro board that we're going to dive into right now, and I'm just going to kind of break down like how the system actually works and I guess what we do to generate these results. The way I structured the Miro board is every single like sort of square is like an SOP that we do, right? And then each SOP has a desired result to get from it. So the lead list building, we want to get leads. The campaign iteration, we want to build our messaging. Infrastructure setup, we want to build our infrastructure, right? And the thing that we're shooting for at the bottom is the qualified sales calls. So, all right, diving into it. To start, I guess with infrastructure setup, that's usually the first thing we do. So when we onboard a client, we have to build their infrastructure to actually be able to send the messages. So high level, how that works is we buy domains, and then under those domains, we create inboxes. So say we buy business.com, we'll have Levi at business.com, Levi M at business.com. We'll usually do around 3 accounts if it's Google, a lot more if it's Microsoft. That's kind of technical, doesn't really matter, but we diversify, we get different types of mailboxes so that we're able to land in inbox. There's a bunch of fancy stuff that we do so that we don't land in spam. That shouldn't really concern you at this point. And then we buy LinkedIn accounts, or we'll use like the team members or clients' LinkedIn accounts and put them into Dripify, which is the sending software, and we send from Dripify and then instantly. That's relatively simple, kind of technical, doesn't really matter too much. Lead list building. So we source our lead list mainly from just these 2 platforms, so Apollo and Google Maps. And then also, so for Apollo searching, you can do a thing called domain search where you put in a bunch of websites of businesses and it'll find their contacts. So there's other databases that we use to find websites for businesses like Store Leads or Crunchbase or whatever. If you want to get really like enriched info or just specific data. But Apollo leads are mainly the ones that are found on LinkedIn, as I said before, right? So like people that would be on LinkedIn. And then the benefit to that is that there's more search filters. You can be more specific in who you're targeting, right? So it's easy to filter for company size, like the specific job titles, the location, the keywords of the business, it's like what type of business they are. And then this very much a generalization, but they're the more white collar leads, okay? And really don't take this too like specifically or whatever. There's a lot of blue collar leads in Apollo, and I'll scrape blue collar from Apollo as well. And it's a lot of like white collar on Google Maps, but this is just a generalization to be like, okay, well, Apollo's more here and Google Maps is more there. Google Maps is the leads that are found on Google. It's easy to find more leads from Google Maps of the types of leads that you'd be looking for in Google Maps. So it's mainly local service businesses, massage clinics, dentists, maybe lawyers, roofers, plumbers, HVAC. And these are like the more blue collar businesses. But that's seriously a generalization, and that's not too specific to how they actually are. And then whenever we get leads, of course, we verify them. So you make sure that the email accounts are like actively being used and the people are actually on those accounts, and that your message will actually route to the inbox. And then most of the time we'll enrich it. So we will map the different segments of the list. As I said, if we get a bunch of agencies, we'll go for maybe PR agencies, branding agencies, advertising agencies, and maybe even thinner than that. And then we'll remove the inaccurate leads. So whenever we scrape a huge list, a lot of the time there's a little margin of the leads that are inaccurate. So for example, maybe you say you want like plumbing leads. There might be a company that sells like plumbing manufacturing or like plumbing tools, which is not who you're targeting, but somehow their keywords fell into that. So we'll remove those. And then a strategy that we've been doing recently that's been working quite well is we add a lead specific column. So every single lead has a specific variable that's different to make our messaging to them more relevant and more specific to like actually getting through them. Okay, so that's the lead list building. We do all of that. We do our search filter on like Google Maps or Apollo. We verify it, we enrich it. Now we have our lead list, we have our leads. Okay. We do our infrastructure thing. Now we have our infrastructure, and then the campaign iteration. So whenever we like, start off with a client, we'll do a strategy call to go over like everything about their business, and then we'll create a big strategy document for like there's a bunch of different main sort of data points we need to know for messaging, and then a lot of extra stuff as well that always comes from the calls. Then usually every about 2 weeks we do a strategy call to go over the campaign process, so like the campaign metrics, and then look at like current strategies, what's working, what's not, new things that are coming up, and then we put them into our email outbound and our LinkedIn outbound like docs, like Google Drive. We of course have like a big client drive with all the messaging and strategies and tactics and all that stuff. So we do all that, we iterate on what's working, what's not, and that is our messaging. So now we have everything, we just need to assemble it and actually run our campaigns. So these numbers are not concrete. It's like a sort of average. We send usually about 1,500 to 3,000 emails a day, and then 40 to maybe 100 LinkedIn messages a day, and we'll those in segment campaigns. So usually, like it's very rare that we'll just be running one campaign. Most of the time, it's multiple different campaigns that we're running parallel to each other, and then we'll be like seeing which ones perform better, and it'll be different niches and a bunch of like crazy split testing stuff that we do all the time because it's a lot of volume that we send. right? So off like 1,500, say 2,000 emails a day, you can iterate very quickly. You can iterate nearly daily if you're sending that volume. So there's a lot of different tests that are going on, and we have some crazy stuff for like how we actually improve on that. And all of this, right? So we've built our messaging, we've gotten our leads, we've gotten our infrastructure, we've done all the sending, and now we have interested leads that are replying to our messages that are interested in our offer. And a lot of people drop off here and say, hey, you go manage this, or just assume, okay, now we have interested leads, now we're solved. Now we have lead generation. That is not the case. This is quite far from like an actual deal close from a sale. So we put a lot of effort into our lead to booking sequence, right? So getting the opportunities, now we have that, and now we have our SOP to get the opportunities into booked calls. So we built an AI setter. We build a custom one per client, right? So we make like a custom knowledge base for the client that we go through like as we onboard them. That has pretty much the AI setter is like an employee trained on their business to respond for them. And so whenever a reply comes in, the AI setter analyzes the reply, it crafts a response, looking at knowledge base, looking at the reply, then it pings the Slack channel saying, hey, you got an interested lead. And either, so most of the replies are pretty similar. It'll be like, hey, I'm interested, send more info, let's book a call, or maybe like, what's your website or something like that. So most of the standard replies, the AI setter will just reply to you right away. If the AI setter is doing really good or it's been working for a while and it's getting trained well, it'll just reply to everything. Some people, right, a common like objection or thing that people say are like, hey, what if the AI setter says like something stupid, right? Or like, what if it just like isn't able to respond to reply? So if it's not able to respond to like a super in-depth question about the business, if you sell like a super niche into service and they ask like a full paragraph or like a full essay about everything that you do, it'll just ping the Slack and say, hey, this is what I think that we should reply. Just click yes in your Slack. Just click yes and they'll send it. So then you can be out and about on your phone. A huge thing comes in and you say, okay, this is what the prospect said. This is what the lead said. This is what the AI setter wants to do. I click yes, and then the AI setter sends it. If it's not good, then you just click no, and then you write your own reply. So it's pretty safe in that way, and it doesn't really like hallucinate. You know, that's an AI term, or like mess up much. And then after that, of course, not everybody books, but it replies within about 90 seconds, which makes a huge difference. It's something like 400% increase in conversions if you can reply within 90 seconds. So it's pretty insane, and they're happy that we made the choice to build it out. After that, if they don't book, then we put them into an automated follow-up subsequence that keeps on following them, and then we'll also hit them up multi-channel on LinkedIn in like LinkedIn retargeting campaigns until they book a call. So we put a lot of effort into just like making sure like every single point of contact that we can to just hit them up. Like so we want to hit them up on email, then we hit them up on LinkedIn, and we just keep on replying to them on email to make sure that we maximize every single lead opportunity. And then after booked calls, right? Really big thing. One of the most common questions is how do you qualify your leads? Okay, so that comes into our pre-call sequence, but it also goes back to the lead list building. So a huge part of the lead list building is pretty much pre-qualifying the leads, right? Like that's all it is. It's making sure that we're outreaching to the people that could be your clients, right? So this list I'm scraping, someone in that list or some people in these lists are going to be your clients. So I need to make sure that they're qualified leads and they're good leads that you're going to like. So a big part of the pre-qualification or getting qualified leads is in the lead list building. But after that, it also goes into the pre-call sequence. So first, I guess the first part of the pre-call sequence would be, or the pre-qualification would be in the calendar link. Usually we ask like a few questions, maybe 3 to 5 questions, just making sure that's even worth entertaining a call. So it could be like, what's your revenue? What have you tried before? How many employees do you have? We usually have the info about the lead anyways. But just a couple questions, which is like, okay, what are the 3 first things that ask in a sales call to make sure that this lead is qualified for the call? Okay. After that, we can reroute them to a post booking page. So you just make like a quick landing page with like saying, hey, confirm the call, right? Make sure you show up. And then like a video just explaining your service to pre-qualify them again, like this one right here. And then also just maybe your social, something like, hey, message me on WhatsApp or like whatever. Don't Then the pre-qualification would be like that video, which is just saying like, hey, watch this video, make sure you've been qualified for the offer. And then the pre-call flow would be, the emails that you're sending them. So we'll send like a couple emails before the call to make sure that they actually show up to the call. And then that is how we turn our booked calls into the end result, which is the qualified meetings, which we hand off to the client and the client turns into money. That is our full process, pretty just logistically on how we use all these different systems to generate qualified meetings, right? We turn these leads that we're scraping into qualified meetings through our infrastructure, through our messaging, through all of these systems. Somewhat in depth, but still, I doubt that you could just go look at this Miro board and then just implement this into your business. So you have two options from here. One, you could do it for yourself, right? You could just like do this yourself, pay for the infrastructure, and battle all these like Microsoft and Google deliverability rules, manage the replies manually unless you built your own AI setter, which would be pretty cool. Build metrics and campaign tracking systems to make sure that you're running the campaigns properly. Learn how to scrape your ICP from different databases, so find out which ones like are the best for who you should be scraping. Split test to find your winning scripts, and a lot of the time, like this is what people message me on like Twitter whenever I hop on these consults or I'm helping out people. Most of the time, what they think the problem is isn't what's the actual problem. So they'll be hyper fixated on the wrong thing. So being uncertain why your campaigns aren't working is a huge thing as well. And you're pretty much just left in the dark if you've never tried this before. So by all means, if you want to, then go ahead, go watch my other videos. I'll help teach you how to do it. And you can just message me on X with any like problems that you're facing, and I will literally help you out. But it is difficult, of course, and you can also have it done for you and just pay us. Sometimes it barely even costs more for us to run it because, of course, we pay a lot less for the lead lists and for the infrastructure because we buy in bulk and we have good relations. So we've dealt with deliverability time and time again, all these different like crazy annoying things that Google and Microsoft will do. We reply in under 5 minutes. It's usually about 90 seconds, like 2 minutes with the AI setter to every lead. We have automated follow-ups, clear campaign tracking systems, tested sources and databases for your ICP, so we know where to find the best roofer leads or the best consultant leads or the best enterprise leads, whatever. Current winning scripts. So if you're a B2B coach, consultant, or agency, we probably ran like scripts for nearly the same offer to you or the exact same offer to you. And we can just use those winning scripts, plug in your business info, and then just iterate on that. And we'll have winning scripts quite quickly. And then we'll be doing strategy calls usually every 2 weeks to go over progress. So you'll know like what is going on. You're not just gonna be left in the dark. So either way, if you think you want to do it yourself or you want to do it done for you, book a call with me and I'll help you out with like what the best option for you would be. All right, we'll go over your business offer and targeting to see if cold outbound could even work for you and then give you actionable steps on the best strategy and channel to use. If you've made it this far in the video, I'll just give you a script or like throw you a lead list for free. It doesn't really cost me anything, so it's pretty easy to do. Either way, just book a call. My socials are on X and YouTube down there, and you can shoot me a message on X with any questions you have. If you're unsure about it, about your offer, if outbound might work for you, might not, message me on X or literally just book a call and talk with me, and I will help you out with that. So book a call, and if you already have, then I will talk to you soon.